Hello everybody and welcome to my video guide on my favorite relic farms. I'm going to talk about my favorite method for each era of relic as well as some honorable mentions. Now these are just my personal favorites, so if you have other ones that work better for you, that's excellent as well. So let's get into it. For Lith relics, my favorite method is the Hepit capture mission in the Void. Every time that you do this mission, you are going to get a relic. You may also end up getting Aya occasionally, as you can find those in Void missions. Now, since this is a capture mission, I recommend running this on a speed frame such as Titania, Volt, Gauss, Neza, whatever works for you. Do keep in mind that if you're not on a speed frame, it may just take you a few extra seconds, maybe an extra minute just to complete this mission. But these are nice and easy because all you have to do is just capture the target. So we're just capturing the target, we're running to the end of the mission, and that is it. This should usually take you under 2 minutes per run, so the faster that you complete this, the more relics you get. So say, for example, within 10 minutes, you can get usually 9 to 10 relics, depending on how fast that you are. Next, for Meso relics, I have two methods that I want to talk to you about. The first is the capture mission of Uko, which is to the south of Hepit in the Void. Similar to Hepit, this is a capture mission, meaning we can just run this very quickly. However, this mission does have a 50-50 chance of whether it's going to give us a Meso relic or whether it's going to give us a Neo relic. However, given the speed that we can run this mission, this is one of my favorite methods for the Meso relic farm. My second favorite method for farming Meso relics is the Olympus Mars Disruption node. Now, Disruption is a gameplay mode where you are going to be killing enemies, they drop keys, you insert the keys to the conduit, and then that's going to spawn an Xmas unit running towards that conduit that and wants to destroy it, and you are going to be killing these units before they get there. This can be completed pretty quickly, so you do want to bring a maximum level rank 30 Warframe and your best weapons. This is not really a good node for leveling because most people who are in these disruption missions are there to farm relics. So if you just have kings to level, it may be more efficient if you level them, for instance, in defense instead. And as you can see, when we go to exit this mission, we've gotten 2 Lith relics and 2 Meso relics. And that is because in this disruption node, we are looking for Meso on the C rotation. So that means after staying for the first 2 rounds, those are Lith, and then the next rounds after that are going to be C and D, which are going to drop the Meso relics. Now, as this goes by pretty quickly, you're going to be getting at least between 4 and 6 relics each time you do a disruption, just based on how long your party is going to stay in for. For Neo relics, my first favorite farming method is going to be on Uranus. This is a disruption mission, similar to Olympus on Mars, which I already talked about. So again, if you were just watching this in parts, in disruption, we're just killing enemies, they're dropping keys, put the key in the conduit, and then you go and kill the demolition Xmas unit before it gets to the conduit. And depending on how long your group stays in, you usually get between 4 and 6 relics per run. as you can see, when we go to leave this mission, the group that I was with here stayed in quite a long time, so we actually got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We actually got 8 relics from just this mission. And that's why it is such a good node to run. Alternatively, if you don't want to be in disruption, now I did talk about this before, but the Uko Void Capture mission, you've got the 50-50 chance to get either a Meso or a Neo Relic every run. So this is a great capture mission, as you can just run this really quickly. You should be finishing this in about a minute if you're on a speed frame. If you're not on a speed frame, maybe a little longer, but you are always going to get either a Meso or a Neo Relic when you are running Uko. For Axii relics, my favorite method is the Apollo node on Lua. This is a disruption node similar to both and Olympus, and as before, in disruption, we're just killing enemies for the keys, going to the conduit, and killing that demolisher unit before it blows up our conduit. Now, we do get quite a lot of relics from this. And depending on how long your party stays in, as you can see, when we go to check out of this node, we have gotten 1, 2, 3. We got 4 relics in this run, which is not bad. Usually with most disruption nodes, you get between 4 and 6 relics, unless your party is really overpowered and they just love staying in the node, in which case you may end up seeing more than 6 relics. And for the final era of relics, perhaps not necessarily an era, but we do have the Kuva relics, which you do have to run if you want to do any kind of liches, Sisters of Parvos, or the Technocodocytes, because you do need the mods from those items for your Parazon. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can get Kuva relics. Firstly, we have the Kuva Flood. Anytime you are running a Kuva Flood mission, it gives you a 100% chance that you are getting a Requiem relic. Now, these can be found in the Alerts tab when you are in Navigation, and there is a few important things that we need to note when we are doing a Kuva mission. So once we find the Kuva pot that the siphons are trying to get to, you need to be in your operator or your drifter form, and you need to dash through the Kuva Guardians to make them susceptible to damage. And then the second thing that we need to pay attention to is what the Kuva braids look like, because you need to be an operator or drifter form to shoot the Kuva braid. Generally, they look like little dark clouds of smoke. They may have some red sparkles, but I usually find that they appear a little bit more like black smoke heading towards the Kuva siphon gang in the middle, more than red. And as you can see, we are shooting the Kuva braid, and that counts for destroying it, because we don't want all the braids to get to the siphon. If all of the braids get to the siphon, it will fail the Kuva part of the mission, and you're not going to get any Requiem relic or Kuva rewards from this mission. Now, the second type of Kuva Requiem relic mission is the Kuva Siphon. Unlike the Kuva Flood, this is not a guaranteed relic, so it is a chance of getting the relic, and this is only about a 50% chance. Now, that's why the Flood is better. Anytime the Flood is up, the Flood is a 100% chance of getting a relic, but the Kuva Flood is also going to be a higher level than the Kuva Siphon. So again, the Kuva Siphon is only a 50% chance, and as I just explained in the Kuva Flood section, you have to be in your operator or drifter form, you have to dash through the Guardian to make them susceptible to damage, and you also have to be an operator or drifter form in order to shoot the Kuva that's trying to return to the Kuva machine. And as you can see, when we finished this Kuva Siphon, we did not get a relic that time. However, we did get some Kuva at least. The last thing I want to talk about in regards to Requiem Relic is that you can also get them as a drop off of Kuva Thralls or Hounds. It is a 5% chance that they will drop from them, and these drop from the enemies that you find in Murmurs. So they can spawn in any murmurs when you are completing those missions, and the murmur mission is when you are going after your lich, your sister, your codicite, any of those, and so those enemies have a chance to spawn, and you may get the relic off of them. My first honorable mention for relic farms is going to go to Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. You can find this at the top of the Syndicate Mission tab. Now, you do have to enter Elite Sanctuary Onslaught with a rank 30 Warframe, but you can bring 3 level 0 weapons or level 0 companions to level in the instance, which is normally what I'm actually doing. So here I'm on my Saren Prime. She is Formud, her build is excellent. I love killing enemies with Saren, and so I'm just bringing items to level. And then in Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, most people in public groups only stay in for 2 rounds. The exception to this is if there is a Nightwave objective up where you have to complete 8 rounds of Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. Otherwise, people are only staying in for 2 rounds. So make a note of what round you're on when you zone in. For instance, I zoned into Zone 1, but sometimes people leave in Zone 2, and you may end up in Zone 2. So just pay attention to that, and make sure you look at the portal before going into it. And as you can see, once we have completed this, we get a Radiant Lith Relic. And you will always get Radiant Relics from Elite Sanctuary Onslaught anytime a relic does drop. Now, it is not 100%. Sometimes you may get Endo or other rewards, but it is usually either Endo or relics. And in my experience, I found that for every 5 Elite Sanctuary Onslaught runs I'm doing, I'm usually getting at least 3 relics, sometimes 4 relics. Sometimes I luck out and I get all 5 of those as the Radiant Relics. So that's why I really like this, because with those Radiants, you have a better chance of good loot. Sometimes they are the Radiant parts that you want for current Warframes, and if not, you can always sell them for ducats so you can get good items off Barrow, or sell them on the market. Another honorable mention is Aya. Aya is a material that you get from both running Void missions as well as bounties. My favorite way of acquiring these is in bounties. I find that when I'm doing the maximum level bounties, I usually get at least 1 to 2 Aya per bounty run, although I have gotten as many as 3 to 4 before. I get the most of them from the Deimos bounties, but you can get them from the bounties on any of the planet locations. To exchange them, we're going to visit Varzia at Maru's Bazaar on Mars. Now, the easiest way to get to Varzia at Maru's Bazaar is where you're just going to simply come over to our relic podium, whether this is in your orbiter or your base of operations. You can find this in either location. This one, I'm in my orbiter. And we're just going to click this button down here that says Visit Varzia. And it auto-launches us without us having to bother finding the planet in the navigation. Now, once we are loaded into Maru's Bazaar, of course, here we appear directly in front of Varzia, so we're just going to interact, and then we're going to select Browse Wares. If you select any of the other options, you're going to be listening to a short story for at least a minute or 2 before you can pick another option. So once we're into Browse Wares, here, as you can see, we can exchange Aya for any of these relics. Now, these are for the vaulted Warframes, so for instance, currently, as I made this video, we've got the Revenant and Baruch Prime who have been unvaulted, meaning that we can get their relics, or if you have the Regal Aya from the paid purchases, you can just get them directly. But here we can spend the free Aya that we just get from completing air bounties, or void missions if you prefer to get them that way. And then you can exchange them for relics. So I find it good just to save the Aya and to stock up on them for when a Warframe that you really want is unvaulted, or one that you're missing from your collection, and then you can just buy a whole ton of these relics. Another honorable mention that I want to go over is buying relic packs with your syndicate standing points. Now, as you can see, I am by my little syndicate pod in my orbiter, and if I click on this here, I'm going to just show you here under Cephalon Suda, under View Offerings. Now here you can get a relic pack, and it shows you for 20,000 syndicate standing points, you can get 3 random relics or Aya. So I'm just going to get one for the purpose of this video, so we can see what we get. And as you can see there, I've got 3 relics, and that's pretty good because I actually do need a Grundle Prime blueprint. Now, I do recommend that if you have augment mods, if you have weapon parts, if you have cosmetics, if you have literally anything else that you want to be getting from these reputations, you may want to hold off on the relic packs. But if you're a person who has everything capped out, or maybe this is just a better way of acquiring them for you, then there you go. And you can get those from any of the syndicate factions. So for example, here's another one. It's just a relic pack, and you can get them from all of the syndicates. My final and last honorable mention for my favorite relic farms is going to be mission rewards. Now, when I say that, usually I am running defense. However, you can get these from interception, you can get them from excavation, but usually I just like getting mission rewards from the defense missions. So for example, I am loading into this relic defense that was up, and then every 3 waves you're cracking a relic and then getting a relic back. They did change defense to 3 waves instead of 5 waves, so if you're a returning player and you haven't played in a while, just make note that you now have to do less waves of defense to get the reward. So as you can see, we are getting some relics back, we're periodically checking, and then when we go to exit all the way at the end, we can see all of the loot that we got. We got 3 Lith relics, and we got a couple of Meso relics. So that's 1, 2, 3. We got 5 relics total for completing this defense mission, and we leveled up and maxed out everything that we were leveling. That's everything for my guide on my favorite relic farms, including some of the honorable mentions. As always, questions and comments are welcomed below, and I hope that the information in this video helped you. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.